we're now joined by the Vice Chairman at Toyota Kirloskar Motor from Bangalore. It's Vikram Kirloskar who's in fact joining us. Vikram, good to have you with us, and appreciate your agreeing to come in and speak about this. First reactions, of course, is I think what we want to immediately seek from you.
Well, first reaction is the court. We have to follow the court's direction. There's no choice. We will do it, and we'll do our best to make sure that there's no mistakes in that all across. I think my first reaction is that there is a huge amount of pollution in Delhi. Something has to be done about it. Vehicles are not the only thing. They've started with vehicles. We'll do our best on that. I hope they address all the other issues of pollution as well.
That's a fair point, and I think the long-term view is, I think, what everybody is asking for is exactly that it shouldn't just be about one thing, because it may not really help in the long term. From an immediate impact point of view, Toyota, I know, of course, when it comes to the Delhi market, both the Innova and the Fortuner would be affected, and this is a key market for you.
Yes, it is a key market. It is going to affect us. We'll have to look at alternates. We'll have to look at alternates in petrol. We'll have to look at, whatever best we can do now. We'll start studying it.
But would you really do that right away, since this is only till the 31st of March? Is that something you would sort of parallelly start to do, or is that, you think, going to be a conscious effort required?
What's happening in the country, and look at India versus the rest of Southeast Asia, the developing countries, Southeast Asia, Thailand, Indonesia. Our regulations are already at a much higher level. And I think Indonesia is probably even Euro 2 or Euro 3. We are already at Euro 4. So what I'm looking for is first Euro 4 application or Bharat 4 application across the country. It's not across the country. That's one. So that we don't have any issues in other cities. Second is the commitments made on Euro 5 and the fuel availability by 2019. I hope those commitments are met, timelines up. And then we take our plans based on that. But generally, what I'm happy is the country as a whole is looking at the issues of environment. If you look at us, France, I think it is a good stand that we also have to do our job and take care of the environment. I think this is good. The Swachh Bharat issues are also linked to this. I think this is a good direction to go. As we go towards international levels of environment in terms of the vehicle industry, I think it will be easier for us to export as well. So I think long term, this is a good way.
Vikram, the question remains about, the fact that there has to be a long-term view, one that goes sort of hand in hand with what needs to be done on the environmental front. As an industry, wouldn't you then also say that, look, we need to have certain incentives in place to say that you could have cleaner burning diesel engines, incentivize the use of better components or technology, or even move towards hybrid, etc., where, the rest of the world has actually, seen certain policy changes towards that front?
See, under the FAME scheme, there is already some incentives for hybrid. So I hope those can be accelerated. Maybe they can be at a higher level in Delhi, which will help sell or introduce higher level of hybrids and electric vehicles. Electrification of Delhi for service points, all those things will also certainly help. There is a certain amount of money for R&D in the FAME guidelines. When we had this committee on hybrid and electrical vehicles promotion, we had put in a fairly large amount of money for technology development. I hope this can be utilized. And there is money available with DST, which one can apply for technology development, which can be related to cleaner burning diesels. Cleaner burning diesels we can say, but right now we have a BS4 regulation. And as per the fuel available, BS4 is the best that can happen. And I think that has to be understood by all. The next stage, of course, is going to be BS5 and BS6, and it depends on the fuel. I think both these issues should be understood by all.
In fact, you preempted my next question, Vikram, because very often the industry has been saying that it's a convenient scapegoat or a target, but somehow, whether it's the environmentalists or the policymakers, nobody seems to be addressing the quality of fuel issue, one that's been plaguing us and hanging over our heads for a while. So does there need to be a much stricter message, maybe from the court itself, to say that, look, even the oil companies need to sort of step up and have a very clear target or a roadmap when it comes to implementing better quality fuel distribution across the country?
I think the oil companies are taking a stand that they will convert their refineries by 2019. I think in many forums, whatever I have been involved in, they have said that they will be doing that. And they're aggressively pursuing it. I think the price of oil coming down is also helping, will probably help them do that investment. It's a sizable investment, and not all the refineries can be converted. It's a big challenge for them as well. But I think they've taken it in the right spirit, and they're trying their best, and they have given commitments on 2019 to start the availability of fuel.
And you're confident that that will happen?
Well, if we start mistrusting others, everyone, then we'll never get anywhere. So I think our objective would be to convince, to keep repeating the story with the government, with the media, with the public, saying that it's important to go to the next level. It's important for the refineries to change. We will also change. And let's hope for the best and work hard to achieve that.
Vikram, it was almost overnight that we saw with the disparity in diesel and petrol prices a few years ago. The industry was sort of caught unawares and had to suddenly make this huge shift towards diesel, ironically enough, make big investments, bring in more diesel-engined cars. And it wasn't a change that was easy for the industry to absorb, both in financial as well as time terms. Something like this, once again, sets you back similarly as an industry, you think?
I think it definitely, these very fast change in policies are detrimental to investment and employment. Definitely. What I hope that as these issues get addressed and people get mature on what are the results of these issues, I hope what people will understand the difference between the fuel, the type of engine, and the emission. We have to look at really emission and CO2 and NOx and all that, rather than what type of technology is giving it. Leave the use of technology to the people who are manufacturing, who are good at it, and give guidance on what is the emission that you want based on the fuel that you want. I think that kind of maturity will have to come, and I'm sure it will come. The understanding has to come. That it's not diesel, petrol, or CNG, but it is actually what is the level of emission that you're specifying. And we as technology providers, OEMs, are we able to keep that emission?
But the point you made about the fuel quality, do you think that there is a possibility for us to tighten emission norms between now and 2019? Do we still have some room?
I don't want to say offhand whether it's possible with the current fuel levels and with the BS4 regulation. Is there an intermittent regulation? Is it possible to do? I really don't know. I don't understand the technicality of it, and we haven't really discussed it. But I know we will try our best to see how to increase our hybrids, increase whatever else we can do to meet this guideline.
In fact, that is one other question I have for you. I know that Toyota, of course, has been pushing this agenda when it comes to hybrid vehicles because of the kind of benefits they bring with them. The FAME scheme, a lot of the cynics of that scheme have been saying that, look, the intent is correct, the idea is right, but it certainly in a country like India has absolutely no far-reaching consequences in scale terms. So would you like to see that increase? Because it seems more like lip service at this point to many.
See, for us, we are making Camry hybrids, and now we are finding almost all the Camrys we are selling are all hybrids. Okay, it's a large car. It doesn't really, the volume is too small to make any significant difference in the air quality. What I'm hoping for us, it's like a test of technology also. Is this technology workable in India? The battery, the temperature, the environment, all these issues we are watching and seeing carefully. So I hope the volumes of this will increase, and the government recognizes the benefits of these new technologies, whether it's electrical or hybrid or hydrogen or whatever else that may come up.
No, but, I'm sorry to cut you off. The example you make is a good one of the Camry, and that's exactly the point, that you can bring in technologies like this with cars that are considered premium or luxurious, but it's still not affordable enough to bring it into the smaller range of vehicles. And the Camry, of course, has proved that it can work in specific segments if it is incentivized to that kind of a consumer. And by the way, winning also our full-size sedan of the year award for the same reason just a couple of nights ago. But the point is that you can't at this point as a company afford to bring in a hybrid smaller car, can you?
Yes, we have tried with the Prius. Prius is, I think maybe Toyota has something smaller, but it's certainly not affordable.
You have the Corolla, you have many such models that sell abroad, but in India they just become they seem too expensive.
Unaffordable right now, yeah. That's a real significant issue that we are facing and challenge. I don't know how we'll address it, but we keep talking about it all the time. It's difficult to address right now.
But from an incentivizing point of view, and I know that the SIAM has also been talking about this, as have you yourself and also the company that you represent, that when it comes to incentivizing the industry, it has to be towards that long-term view of looking at the environment, looking at pollution levels, looking at where the industry is meant to go after 10 or 15 or 20 years. We haven't seen that from either the past government or the current government, have we? I mean, the FAME scheme you mentioned is not really it.
Well, FAME is a start. It's not I mean, it's definitely a start. It's better than nothing. And I think it is helping to some extent. I hope it continues and improves, and I'm sure it will with these kind of judgments coming from the court. But I think the government does recognize. I see Mr. Gadkari always shouting at us, saying, "Why aren't you using ethanol? Why aren't you looking at this?" He's always pushing for better ideas. He's talking of the waterways. He's talking of alternate methods of transport. I think there is an understanding in this government regarding Swachh Bharat, and they do want to put it across the country.
That's fair. And of course, being here in Delhi, I can tell you that anything that helps the pollution levels will help us for sure. But one last thing that...
If you look at the pollution levels, the various sources, vehicles is one. But the other things like dust, like wood fires, like burning of leaves, burning of rubbish, bad toilets, this whole thing adds up.
Yes, it does indeed.
Yeah, what I understand from what was published in Economic Times regarding IIT Kanpur is that only 8% or something is related to cars in Delhi. And of which, if I look at BS4 cars, it will be very, very small. So I'm concerned that these actions actually give some result. Because if the results don't come, and the actions are in vain, then where do we go next?
On that same point, then, what is your view on this Delhi experiment of odd and even number plates? I mean, is that something that could be replicated in terms of bringing just numbers down?
Tried in many countries. Besides the amount of cars on the road, perhaps it will help in decongestion. It may also help on dust on the roads. I think we have to look at the overall thing and see how it works. I saw a show on your channel, I think with Barkha, where Mr. Narayan said, Sunita Narayan said that this should be the odd even should be put across the board with no exceptions to make it successful. And I tend to agree with her. When we have to make the odd even successful, it's a short-term kind of a stand, could be used at the worst pollution times during the year, but it has to be made successful. So the moment you start off with exceptions, it'll be difficult to govern.
Vikram, the point about the trucks is also a crucial one, so that it can't just be passenger vehicles that are sort of pointed at as being the ones to blame for all of the mess that we're in.
No, it's not. I mean, there are a lot of things which are creating a mess. What I understand from various apportionment studies that there's a lot of dust, coal dust, construction dust, all kinds of things are there. So I hope all of them are attacked.
One point that I have to ask you about, we've seen a certain decision from one of your competitors, Ford, unofficially, of course, at this point, not confirming, but unofficially putting off the launch of their new SUV. I know that we are expecting new generations of both the Fortuner and Innova from you as well. Would you just sort of wait and watch right now? What happens at the Auto Expo? It's going to fall within that March 31st deadline period.
No, I think we will have solutions, alternate solutions. We will try our best.
And as an industry, do you think there'll be a wait and watch? I mean, going by how we typically see people reacting?
Investments in this industry have been very, very high. All of us have invested huge amounts of money. There is excess capacity in this industry, and we are looking forward for the next 4 or 5 years of growth. So, just sitting, wait and watch I don't think is a proper, something we can afford to do. We'll have to work very hard on strategizing what we need to do on our product lineup. We'll have to, because I think this is not a 3-month issue, and it's not only a Delhi issue. I think it's a long-term issue. It's going to happen to other cities eventually, one by one, wherever the pollution wherever the pollution is heavy. So it may happen through the other parts of the country as well. So you can't wait and watch and wait for 3 months.
That's a fair point. One last thing before I let you go, Vikram, and I appreciate your time today. The component industry, a lot of the engine components have been localized over the past 18 odd months. We've seen a huge step up, in fact, in that particular direction. Toyota is one of the big examples of that too. How hard would something like this impact them? Because very often they are the ones who are a little more stretched than the OEMs.
See, presently, if you look at the engines, everyone is producing Euro 4 engines. I mean, Bharat Stage 4 engines, which is with the current fuel availability. So again, this confusion on emission and technology is still there. I hope that gets sorted out. So as per the latest regulations, we are producing components. Until the regulations change, which I can't see them changing until the fuel is available in 2019, the component companies have that much time.
All right, so that is an optimistic note to end on. Vikram, I really do appreciate it again. Your time today means a lot, and I, of course, hope that there is more clarity for you as a company and as an industry. Thanks for speaking to us.
Let me say, I'm trying to be upbeat, but I think there's no choice but to be upbeat. It's a very, very tough time for us. It's not going to be easy to keep production up because production is going to come down. We have issues of employment, people. There are many issues and suppliers. So it's a very, very tough time. We'll have to go through this, re-strategize, and see where we come out. It is going to be tough.
And we do wish you the best for that. I completely do agree that it will be something the industry will have to sort of possibly come together on as well and deal with jointly. Again, many thanks, Vikram. Do appreciate it, your coming in today and speaking with us.